Welcome to my show. I'm a guest here. Her name is Mary Kozik. Mrs. Mary, how are you doing, ma?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Thank you very much, Mrs. Mary. And also, thank you so much for the time and the opportunity. Firstly, you are a philanthropic executive. You are also a strategic advisor. Can you please, Mrs. Kozik, Mrs. Mary, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mrs. Mary?
Well, I'm definitely a philanthropy expert. I have over 25 years of leadership and management and fundraising experience from different nonprofit organizations, some like the Smithsonian Libraries, Lifespan, Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, the Preservation Society of Newport County. And I'm also a certified fundraising executive who has raised billions of dollars for nonprofit organizations, lasting and building lots of donor relationships. And I'm very, very proud of that. But I have to say that a little over 6 years ago, I was let go from a job that led me to the John Maxwell Company, where I studied to be a coach, and that's how I became interested in coaching and became a certified coach, and it changed the direction of my life. And I've always had a passion to be a coach and to help and serve others, and this opened that door. And I should share that I've been in recovery for 15 years and always wanted to do more to serve others in recovery. I just didn't know what that was going to look like. But losing this job, as painful as it was a gift on many life um, as many life struggles are. We often say that one door closes, another one opens, and that's what it did for me. And so over the years, I've become a recovery coach and continue to work with John Maxwell and get coached by the many wonderful coaches that guide me to be the best that I can be as a coach now.
Very much beautiful, Mrs. Mary. And that is why we usually say this life is a pivot. Despite the downfall, despite the pressure we find in our life, we figure out that we bounce back up and become more stronger, which also give you more exposure to actually rely on more experience and also build more things that can also become more impactful in society, more in the position as a coach as well. And that is why I would like to drive from the experience you've had, Mrs. Mary. Have you written any book or are you planning to write any book in the coming future, Mrs. Mary?
I very much would love to write a book. I believe that my story is one of that's very compelling, and I think it would help a lot of people. And I think that a, a book about my story would be really exceptional. Um, and I don't know if you would love to hear my story today, but I would love to share it if that's okay with you.
Definitely, we could definitely have more conversation in regards to your story and also your experience, and also regarding the questions that are also currently out here currently. And that is why I would also like to drive to the position of word legacy. When we hear the word legacy, many people think about wealth or achievement. How do you think, or how can generosity reshape what legacy truly means, Mrs. Mary?
Legacy truly means what people are able to leave to what they are able to accomplish. It's not necessarily have anything to do with wealth. It's who they are and what they are able to contribute as a human being. And it brings me back to coaching. And when people are coached to be the best that they can be and discovering their purpose, that's their legacy. And so many people are stuck in their lives and not knowing what to do or how to do it. And a coach provides that guidance so that they can truly leave the legacy that they were meant to be. But a legacy is so much more than philanthropy. I mean, everyone looks at philanthropy as the legacy, but it's those who are out there every day volunteering and doing so much more than actually contributing financially. Their legacy is behind the scenes, working every day to make things better in this world.
Completely agree. It's definitely not easy to actually make a change in the society we find ourselves today. And for us to be in the position of legacy is also bring out that impact. It make us to be in the position to give more and also give or have a sense of humanity in the life we find ourselves. And also, Mrs. Mary, I would also like to drive to the areas you think leaders can also try to align their generosity with deeper mission. How do you think leaders can also try to align their generosity with deeper mission or purpose they want to leave behind, Mrs. Mary?
Well, I think people, yeah, if you ask someone what their values are, and they can't answer that question. And I think that's one of the first things I do when I'm coaching someone is do a values exercise and help them determine what's most important to them. Because when people align their values with what they want to do, it helps them. And because we make decisions every day of our lives, and we're making decisions based often on unknown purpose, and it's not helpful. And so when we align our values, is it family, is it friends, is it environment, is it um, religious, is it spiritual, is it what is it? So when one finally discovers their values, again, by working with a coach, you can discover your values, you align with what's most important so that you can leave that legacy that's most important. And you can work with, you know, the Salvation Army or the leukemia. Is it disease oriented? Is it so? That's very important to figure out what's important to you, what values you have, so that the legacy that you leave behind is based on what your values are.
Sincerely appreciate you. You know, the legacy is one of the most important thing that people think they need to actually leave behind. But we have to understand our values. Our
Yeah.
values just look like the roots. When the root is fertile enough, there is a legacy we can leave behind for others
Mhm.
to carry on from there. So we have to continue to try our best to build the roots, which is the values. And there is no one. And I'm so glad you actually brought in the position of coaches who try to actually bring out the values within someone, to bring out those kind of qualities, one thing they can also have. So also bring out to leave a legacy behind for the next generation to take over. And Mrs. Mary, I would like to drive to the point of wealth because wealth can be very, very technical and it can also be very sensitive as well. With the kind of the digital age we have, there are a lot of definition that we could have in regards to wealth. So many people, or let's just say some people, may believe that they must be wealthy to actually make a meaningful difference. How can ordinary individuals create powerful legacy through small acts of generosity, Mrs. Mary?
Well, if they don't have the significant wealth, the through volunteering, I think you can make significant contributions. It's not monetary wealth, but it's indirectly um, worth so much to many organizations. Many organizations depend on volunteers to do what they need to do, and that's indirectly turns into wealth because it costs organizations so much to run their organizations, and they wouldn't be able to do all that they do without their volunteers. So that's the contribution people can make on a on a wealthy on a. It's almost more important to organizations from a wealth standpoint to have those volunteers than it is for someone to just write a check. It's easy to write a check versus someone who spends 10 hours a week at a food pantry or 10 hours a week working with children side by side or being a big brother or a big sister. Or I mean, there are just so many volunteer opportunities for the homeless or people in schools. It, they depend so much on volunteers, and people who give of their time, I believe, is so much more important. Again, it's easy to write the check, but it's not as easy to give of your time. So
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mrs. Mary. And to be honest with you, Mrs. Mary, this information you just gave in brings out a lot of emotions. And we do understand how the world is being programmed. The world has gotten to a stage whereby it is being programmed right by currency has to be part of what is actually in on board or what is actually moving. But despite how this world has been programmed, more of the financial status and stuff like that, generosity pays a very big price. And I love what you said, volunteering in our communities, in our societies, in our surrounding, every single way. There are always ways we can actually volunteer to make a change, to make an impact, and to make the world a better place at large. These are very huge prices that cannot be paid by anything. It carries the emotions. It also makes us to feel a whole. It gives us a position that we have actually added something in the society and in the world at large. Those are huge legacy that plays a very huge role in our life, in our coming generations, and also give people impact. I sincerely appreciate you for the powerful insight in that perspective, Mrs. Mary. I would also like to drive to the point where we think generosity can also gain a lot of impact. What do you think are also the long term cultural or societal changes that can emerge when generosity becomes a shared value, Mrs. Mary?
yeah, that's I think there are a lot of people who also love to do that, and it's it's wonderful when people get engaged. And there are a lot of those people who sit on board of directors, and they are giving of their time as well as their financial contributions. It's extremely wonderful to see those individuals, a lot of those individuals. And it's interesting when I've been coaching individuals how, again, when they become to recognize their values and what's important to them, they it's almost like a light goes off and they want to do more. They they realize that it's not enough just to sit on a board um, or make the gift. They want to get involved as well. So they do want to do both. They do want to volunteer as well as make that generous gift. And you see that more and more where people want to get engaged with the organization on a day-to-day basis as well as make that generous philanthropic gift, which is which is wonderful to see. And I think that when when people are being coached or people are being made aware of how important that is to organizations, um, it's just so helpful. So it just it's education. It's educating people why that is so important. It's to not just make that gift, but to actually get involved and engaged in the organizations that they are contributing to.
Sincerely appreciate you for the great insight. It shows the values that we can actually have in the organization, and also little things that we can also do that can also help us emerge, grow, become more better as well, so that we can live a more fulfilled life and also make more things that can also help us improve and also grow as large, so that we can actually live a more fulfilled life. And I sincerely appreciate you for the wonderful insights, Mrs. Mary. Mrs. Mary, I would also like to drive to someone who wants their life to matter beyond their personal achievements.
I don't know, I don't want to say the younger generation, but if people are not aware of who they are, there are a lot of people in this world who are stuck. And I know that word is used almost too frequently, but it's I don't know how else to put it, but in the coaching industry, it's I work with people who are stuck. They're just unhappy and they are working their jobs and just going about life day to day, not feeling a sense of contentment, not feeling a sense of worth, not feeling a sense of they're feeling a sense of self-doubt and worry and shame and regret. And so when you work with them as a coach, you begin to identify what's important to them, and that's when they begin to identify how they want to help other people. And overall, we as human beings are meant to help other people. And that's that's a known fact. When when people help other people, there's no greater satisfaction of 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 feeling better, of feeling good. And whether it's just a known fact. It's the fellowship. When people are in fellowship, whatever kind of fellowship you want to
Yeah.
call it, whether it's spiritual, whether it's a group of people who get together to run together, whether it's a people who build houses together, whether it's a group of people who help other children improve, it's just a known fact. And so it's just educating them and working with them and getting back to aligning with what's important to them, identifying their values. And so it's it, it's getting because those group of people who are not part of wanting to build or leave a legacy haven't um, haven't reached a point in their lives where they're ready to reach out for help. And I think when people reach a point when they're just so unhappy and they reach out for help, they begin to realize how important it is to leave a legacy. And when you realize what that legacy is, it always involves helping other people. One of the things in the coaching world, we do this wheel of life, and it involves looking at different areas of your life, whether it's family and friends and exercise and health and community, and you look at where your strengths and weaknesses are. And oftentimes, you one of the weaknesses is community and getting involved. And if that is one of your weaknesses, you need to look at building that because it's 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 a weakness that doesn't make you feel good about yourself. And so it's a proven fact when people get involved in their community and help, and they begin to feel better about themselves.
All right, I sincerely appreciate the great insight you brought to this conversation, Mrs. Mary. And also, Mrs. Mary, there's also a question I normally ask during the end of the show from our forefathers, from our ancestors. There are a lot of beautiful things that do exist during our forefathers' time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Mrs. Mary, what do you think that thing will be, Mrs. Mary?
I think that when you look at some of the most incredible leaders of our time, whether it's way back when President Kennedy, who, you know, built was so involved with volunteerism, Martin Luther King, you know, um, there is a dream, that to me, there's an extraordinary statue of Martin Luther. I used to live in Washington D.C. For 5 years, and I used to love visiting that statue because it is so powerful. And he he was a powerful man, and truly talk about leaving a legacy of um, that is so motivational. And we all have dreams, and we all want to have dreams, and we want these dreams to be fulfilled. And those dreams often are about being the best that we can be. And how do we be the best that we can be always involves helping other people. That's a gift. We're here for a very short time on this universe, and we all want to be able to follow some of those amazing leaders and be a gift to others. And you are a gift to others, and I'm honored to be part of this show. And thank you for the gift of being able to talk about this most very important subject. Thank you.
I also thank you for the time and the opportunity, Mrs. Mary.
Thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure and again an honor to be part of this show. And thank you for inviting me. And I wish you a beautiful day, Timepe.
Have a wonderful day, Mrs. Mary. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Have a blessed day.